Ding Dong Davis? You better get on up here. What? Derwin! Girl, Melanie, is that you?
Don't take me. I've got to go to school.
No, it's Melanie. My baby's here. Oh.
I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed about everything that's happened. I'm just...
Yeah. Shh. Yeah. Because I'm still in love with you.
Oh, it's because I love you.
And I love you too, Mel.
You expect me to run to you?
Yes.
I just saw Melanie and Trey together, so naturally
Melanie?
Count me in doesn't sound anything like I have a fiance.
Drew just asked me to be in her new video. I'll even tell her all about you, I promise.
I'm so going back to vibrate.
You need some help with that?
Quiet afternoon lunch at Dos Lobos.
It's embarrassing enough he got drafted 60 spots ahead of me. Now when I face him on the field, all I'm gonna be thinking about is you yucking it up with him at the taco joint.
You bring your girl Melanie to your other girl Drew's party, because I gotta see how a church boy juggles two women. I think you know exactly what you want to do. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date with the final season of Charmed.
Melanie, keep your ass away from Trey.
Derwin, I'm...
Drew!
Derwin!
See, Melanie doesn't know I kissed you, and Drew don't know about Melanie. That's the way it's gonna stay.
Put his hand on the nape of her ass. That's the universal sign for we having sex. Look. She got her hand on his arm. Oh! Bitch got her finger in his eye. What if that was Jason? You pay the bill, I'll get the car.
Drew, I gotta tell you something.
Yeah?
I have a fiance.
What? Where's your man going? Oh, don't worry. He'll be back.
Okay, I take back the happy face.
Well, I think we should.
Kiss me. What, to sleep with Trey? Sweetie, you could have just turned to alcohol.
No, you know I've been feeling you since college, girl.
Well, yeah, I guess I kind of knew. And maybe I like that, but Trey, I'm not sure.
Derwin blew it.
The abortion didn't happen in college and the baby wasn't yours. It was Trey.
Two-piece with a biscuit.
I'm Jerome.
Oh, hey,
Hi.
my bad, y'all. Melanie, Jerome, this is Jana.
You still don't know what you want?
Oh, and you do?
Yes, you. You're obviously bothered that he's moving in with his
Oh,
girlfriend.
that's not his girlfriend. You're over here cheating on your girlfriend with me. Oh my God.
Yeah, I like that. Two-piece with a biscuit.
But I only want you.
Make the birthday boy beg. You won. You got the girl.
Maybe if you would have picked the right woman to have a baby with you, you wouldn't have to do that.
A daily reminder that there's somebody else you'd rather be with?
Yeah, baby. I'm pretty. Yo, baby mama, ugly.
Did I cheat on you? Did I steal you from Melanie? No, and even after that bitch sat up there and snapped a DNA test of my son, I still have done nothing wrong.
Melanie, what?
Yeah, Melanie, 1. You and your ugly baby mama, 0.
That you were using me to sell this fantasy world of us being a family so that you could get what you wanted. And I was stupid enough to fall for it.
Great game, yo.
You too.
While we have discussed all of the main couples and the main characters of the game, there are still several people who are extremely pivotal to the storyline of Derwin and Melanie. So today, we'll be discussing the second string players, the people who changed the story of Derwin and Melanie, and what I think those people say about the characters they were connected to. We have a lot to get into, and I can finally get a couple of things off my chest, and you can too in the comment section. So let's get started. Now, if you have seen any of my other videos, especially the ones focused on Derwin and Melanie, then you are fully aware that they had a very long and winding road to get to each other at the altar. And that road led through several other people. They were a hot mess express as a couple, individually and together. I would even say even worse together. As y'all know, I did not want this couple to end up together. I wanted so much more from Melanie. I thought there was a lack of basic respect from Derwin, and I never saw him make up for that. I always always felt like there was a thread or even a tinge of disrespect that was always present between them. And I always felt like Melanie was auditioning for his affection. Even in their last season on the BET series, Melanie got fed up. And for the last few episodes of her time on the show, she had had enough of Derwin. And while she did show up to his Super Bowl win, she still left to go to Johns Hopkins. But the events leading up to her leaving for Johns Hopkins were Derwin asking her to choose between him and school. Again, as if years of that same decision had not plagued them both the entire time and was the impetus for their dysfunction in their relationship.
I mean, you don't like this, you don't like that. It's the same thing every single week. The days of me being queen bee to a bunch of D-list, desperate housewives are over. I quit! Look, I want to go back to Johns Hopkins and complete my residency and finish what I started and become a practicing doctor.
God, you are so selfish. Don't you know that my career is based here in San Diego and that my son is here in San Diego?
What the fuck that got to do with me?
Well, I have one time to concentrate on my career and my son. Can't you just wait till my career's winding down or DJ graduates from college?
I'm killing you and him.
DJ's gonna finish school before I do.
I don't know, maybe you guys can go to school together. So congratulations, you managed to bring everyone down with your alleged unhappiness.
My unhappiness is real, Derwin. No matter how brave a face I put on, my pain is real. And I am genuinely unhappy. And my heart wants me to go to Johns Hopkins.
I got it the first time, Mel.
As much as I'd love for you to come with me and support me, I'm willing to go alone.
Yes, you gotta follow your heart then, right?
But I'm going to be honest, that was more so a symptom of the problem, which was Derwin felt like the world should revolve around him. Now, y'all know I have a Derwin is evil video, so we don't have to rehash everything in it, but he was just not a good partner because he wasn't a good person. Doesn't mean he wasn't ever going to be a good person or he didn't have potential to be a good person. He just always chose wrong because innately he felt like the world, and especially Melanie, owed him something, and he never quite got over that. Even when he acquiesced to do things for Melanie or in her favor, it always felt like he wanted it to be a big show and for her to recognize the value in a man that sacrifices for you. Meanwhile, she done sacrificed her family, her car, her life, her career, etc., etc., etc. At this point, he can't do enough to make up for the sacrifices that she'd made to be with him. Not that it's a tit for tat, but it was extremely imbalanced. And at no point did he ever seem to want to put in the effort to create more balance between them, which is why I felt like they were so dysfunctional. Now, that doesn't mean Melanie didn't have her moments too. Like I said, Melanie accepted this behavior for a multitude of reasons. And in my video about Melanie, I discussed the many reasons why I felt like she tolerated Derwin and his nonsense, as well as the many mistakes she herself made. Nowhere near as many as Derwin, but she had her own moments. So today I want to talk about the other people that these two brought into their dysfunctional cycle. And we have to start with my favorite, Trey Wiggs.
2 rookie wide receivers. 1, an up-and-coming star. 1, a huge star. Best friends in college, now rivals in the pros.
I wasn't just another football player trying to make it through. You helped me complete the package the league loves to promote. And Gatorade, Toyota, Nike, Shillings. I'm rich and I can calculate.
Are you talking about Trey Wiggs? I can't stand that fool. In college, he thought he was all that, breaking the most yards received and touchdown record in a single season. I was there.
This Wiggs, it's so good to see you.
Oh, you too. Well, I'm glad you came.
No one in the world can stop me.
I love you.
Wasn't that impressive?
Congratulations, man. Taking the Sabers. I got a good squad this year.
I had a great squad, team. Congratulations on the Outlaws.
50 million, right? 80. But you know it's more like 50 after the agents, managers, lawyers, publicists get their cut. You know.
Derwin has an image consultant.
That's what's up.
Derwin, he has issues with our relationship.
Are you serious? You just gonna throw away 4 years of friendship. I've treated you with respect. I've treated Derwin with respect. I thought you had your own mind, Mel. It's cool. Take care of yourself.
Kiss me. Trey, are you for real?
Are you not? No, this wasn't just a hit it and quit it. Come on, you know I've been feeling you since college, girl.
Chaz Shepard is one handsome fella, is he not? When I first saw him show up as Trey Wiggs, I said, not Al from the Temptations. Okay. I was like, I know that's right. They were never going to get a vote for Derwin from me as long as Chaz Shepard was the alternative. And from the very beginning, from the very first bite of the very first burrito and tacos, I wanted her to choose Trey. It also doesn't help that I am a huge fan of Sister Sister, and Chaz Shepard played on Sister Sister.
It's pretty amazing how much time you spend talking about football.
Well, football's pretty amazing. Your tutoring that got me through biology. Point is, I wasn't just another football player trying to make it.
And he was getting on Tia's nerves because she was trying to date him at a party and he would not stop talking about football. They portrayed old college friends who then grew up. They both went their separate ways, but they stayed friends. And every time they had an opportunity to cross paths again, they did. Melanie was really good friends with Trey and apparently his whole family, and his mom loved her. They exchanged Christmas gifts, so they were still very close. Melanie was tutoring Trey for all 4 years of undergrad. As someone who tutored the male basketball team at my JUCO, I only did that for 2 semesters, and most of them were not recurring. I only tutored them for a couple of weeks to study for a test or maybe even for one class, but to tutor somebody for all 4 years of undergrad, Trey, we see you. Derwin wasn't all the way crazy. Now, when he peeped game as a man himself, he knew exactly what he was talking about. Was Trey charming? Yes. Yes, he was. He was. But was he sneaky as hell? Also, yes.
I don't want you having lunch with him.
Why are you freaking out? You know we're just friends.
Man, you know I've been feeling you since college, girl. Men don't want to just be friends with beautiful women.
Come on, Derwin. Trey's not thinking about me like that. Well, yeah, I guess I kind of do. And maybe I like that, but...
That naivete is normally very cute, but right now, not so much.
Derwin blew it. You and I at work.
Yeah, but Trey, I don't want you to be the rebound guy.
Oh, you're killing me, Mel.
Well...
Also, yes, he was playing the white knight. We see you. Now, I think Melanie knew full well how Trey felt about her. And as a matter of fact, when Derwin asked her straight up a list of questions to determine if Trey might feel something, the way she answered those questions implied that she knew. But why would I admit that to my boyfriend if I don't plan on doing anything about it? We're just going to stay friends. Me and you are together. He's respecting our boundaries. Let's just leave it at that. That is playing with fire. That is playing with fire. You can have friends. You can have platonic friends of the opposite sex. You cannot be just friends with someone who wants to date you. That is a lesson it took me a long time to learn. Now, not everybody falls under that umbrella. There are exceptions to the rule, but can you really be friends with someone you want more with? Or are you always lying in wait? And that changes the dynamic of your relationship. And it also changes the level of trust that you have in your relationship. A lot of straight men have a dust yourself off and try again kind of mentality. Like, if you don't like me in this season, maybe you'll like me in that season, or maybe you'll like me in the other season. And sometimes they're right. But what I'm actually talking about is not a consistent pursuit or maybe even a recurring pursuit. What I'm saying is a pursuit while under the guise of a friendship is not healthy, it's not fair, and it's not trustworthy, especially when one or both have a partner. This is also something I find concerning for people around the age that Melanie, Trey, and Derwin were. Now, in your 30s, your friendships pretty much extend to going out to dinner, maybe going on vacations, but there are a lot of boundaries around your friendships. When you're younger, those boundaries are a lot more fluid and ambiguous, and you spend a lot more private time with each other, wherein trust is essential. If someone has access to me in a relaxed and guards down state, I need to know that I can trust them with my life. And it's important that I know you won't do something indecent or you won't make me uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form. If the terms of our relationship were different, how would you behave? And if I can't trust you to keep your feelings under wrap out of respect for me, someone who doesn't feel the same, can I trust you with anything? Are you just waiting for an opportunity to get me alone to then continue pursuing me? If it's always looming above, around, below, or behind the curtain, can I really be comfortable around you? And if I can't really be comfortable around you, especially in all forms in a relaxed state, can we be friends? Now, for Melanie and Trey, they hadn't crossed any boundaries. But when Melanie was rattling off the responses to Derwin's list, I was looking at her like, now, girl, Melanie, in the same way I was looking at Trey crazy, I'm looking at you crazy, because women know. Maybe not right away, maybe not at first, not always, but we can tell. Women are extremely intuitive. Again, there are exceptions to the rule because some people are truly aloof, but most of us, we know when someone is feeling us.
Well, yeah, I guess I kind of do.
A lot of us aren't just running around assuming everybody's in love with us, but we can tell when the dynamics have changed. We can tell when the responses have changed. We can tell when the tone has changed. We can tell how you look at us. We know. And we try to work around it if it's not something we're feeling. We try to subtly say, hey, something has changed. Is everything okay? Most of us will, while others of us will ignore it, like Melanie. My personal feelings are, if you have to ask, something has probably changed. Whether with you or with them, something has changed. And it's best to get to the root of that before you decide to continue. That way everybody is on the same page and there's no awkward moments. Derwin asked her straight up, do you feel like he has any feelings for you? She said, absolutely not. But later, when Trey did reveal that he's always had feelings for her, which, child, we know, we could tell. Nobody loves tacos that much. Well, we could tell, but when he later is in the Range Rover he bought her, trying to give her a diamond necklace and telling her how he feels and that he's always felt that way, she admits, well, I guess I did know. You knew all along, Melanie. You were not fooling anybody with Derwin's dumb ass. And even he had caught on. So if Derwin caught on, Ding Dong knows, then everybody knows. One thing she was adamant about was that he never overstepped and he never made her uncomfortable. When she made it clear that she wanted to be with Derwin, he did not second guess that. He did not do anything untoward, and he was always respectful of her relationship. And that's really all you can do. And another thing I respect about Trey is when he realized his presence was a problem for Derwin, he wanted to speak to Derwin one-on-one because they were all classmates. So he did all that he could to create an environment that he and Melanie could nurture a friendship while making Derwin comfortable. But in my personal opinion, if Trey were my brother or my friend or my cousin or what have you, and he came to me with this situation, I would say, if you are having feelings for her, it's best that you don't pursue a friendship until you resolve that. Because what you're going to end up doing is exactly what he did. Lie in wait, and when the moment strikes, he's gonna take it. The problem with that is he did not consider her feelings at all, and he put Melanie in a very bad situation. Melanie was extremely vulnerable when he came and picked her up from the side of the road and took her to his place in LA. Now, while he did do a very friendly thing by taking her out of a toxic situation, protecting her from her very violent boyfriend, making sure she had everything she needed to survive and sustain, paid for her semester of college, got her a truck and a condo, and apparently a mural and a diamond necklace. Around the truck, the mural, and the diamond necklace, we might have turned from friendship to, I'm gonna try to woo you with my money. Again, if he didn't have feelings for her and he'd done all those things, that would just be a damn good friend. A friend that better come up with something in writing so she could pay his ass back. But a friend, no less. However, the moment he revealed he had feelings for her, it put everything he'd done for her under a different lens. And I can completely understand Melanie saying, whoa, I can't accept this now that we have gotten physical in some way, or now that we've shared some kind of romantic feelings, because that would put her in a position of either using him or even using the nature of their relationship to get things out of him, which is not okay. Even if he's consenting, a person like Melanie, that is just not how she is. And I don't blame her. I don't like using people either. And if I do not see a future with a person, I'm not accepting a damn thing from you. What I don't appreciate is he saw that she was vulnerable and he threw all that on her in that moment. The right thing for Trey to do would be to check with himself. Am I doing these things because I just want her to be okay? And if I really have feelings for her, it's best that I wait until she's in a position to truly evaluate her options and decide what's best for her from an autonomous place where she doesn't feel like she might owe me something. I also think he just got ahead of himself because he really liked her. He also liked her as a friend, but I think he had romantic feelings and he was working through the conflict of feeling both. I will never get the image of a crying Melanie out of my head laying down with Trey. Nope. I would never want someone to seduce me while they're in distress. The way the show plays it, as it was this moment of passion, we've seen that Melanie handles grief through romance, or not even romance, through sex. It's how she feels she regains her power back. And it's one of those things that I don't like about her character, but I'm glad they wrote her that way because you don't see that depicted often on screen, where a good person is depicted as processing grief or pain that way. Usually they paint that type of character as a harlot or Jezebel, completely deride her character and turn her into this monster or seductress, etc. No, they gave us Melanie, a very complex character who, by our standards as an audience, seems like a very good person, a very sweet person, but the way she processes pain and grief out of desperation and sex to regain her power is problematic, which is why I love that character. Everybody on the game is just so well written. So we see this person who's been written like a good character, a good girl. She's even on a proverbial good girl list amongst the league, meaning she's a person who's been vetted, and any player who gets her will get a good girl. She's pre-approved like a damn loan. Either way, we see her making decisions that are not befitting of the character we've come to know of Mel. We see that it's been days since they've been staying in this hotel room and Trey has been sleeping on the couch. By that, it gives me insight into the type of respect he has for her and the fact that he doesn't want her to feel pressured or uncomfortable at all. But then when they sit on the bed and have a discussion about how in pain she is and just how sad she is, she starts kissing him. Now, he has established that he has feelings for her, but he didn't do that until after they slept together. Which I can understand him having mixed signals, but the fact that she's crying should have cleared all that right on up. The fact that you are crying about your ex tells me that you are not ready to be here. And in which case, in the same way Malik said, I respect myself, so no. Trey, you should respect yourself, so no. But you should also respect your friendship. This is a person who is not in their right mind. This is a person stricken with grief brain, making fly-by-night decisions and just trying to alleviate herself of the anguish she feels. While she trusted him as a friend, I can understand why she wouldn't want to accept the things that he bought her, because at any point he can use those things against her. It's always my advice to have your own so that at any point you can walk away and do your own thing without worrying about it blowing up in your face or worse. And if I can control your livelihood, then I can make you do whatever I want you to do. So you're basically living in the margins of my whims. One day I might be hot and one day I might be cold. And you're always going to be worried about that. It's just not worth the hassle. That isn't the last time we saw Trey Wiggs. We actually see Trey Wiggs come back around, I believe it's season 4 or 5. It's in the early seasons of the BET years when he and his wife and child run into Derwin and Melanie and they're out and about.
Wow, look at you walking around Saber country like you own it, man. You got some nerve. Knowing you're gonna get your ass whooped on Sunday if I just keep.
Hi, Trey.
Hey, Mel. Tiffany, this is Mel. Mel, Tiffany.
Nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you. I understand you're partly responsible for getting him through college.
She actually got me through school, too. Yes, she did.
Melanie is throwing a party for DJ, Derwin's child, with Jana, and everyone's going to be there. So Derwin extends an invite to Trey and his wife and his child. They agree to come, and everybody's excited. After this invitation is extended, Derwin and Melanie get into some kind of conversation because they are having fertility issues. This is an era where Melanie is struggling to get pregnant, and one of the questions she's asked is if she had an abortion. At no point did that doctor say, if you did, this is causing your infertility. As a matter of fact, she's diagnosed with endometriosis, which then is given as one of the reasons she's struggling to get pregnant. Not that she can't get pregnant, there are just some challenges. But Derwin locks in on the question about abortion. Now, Melanie says no. Melanie has a tell. Anytime she's being deceitful, she says definitely. So he makes the assumption that it had to be when they were in undergrad because she had gained weight and then lost it right away. But finally, she says, you know what? I'm tired of lying about things. I want us to have an upfront relationship. It was not with you. It was Trey's baby. After we broke up, I slept with Trey. I found out I was pregnant. I stole money from Tasha, got an abortion, and no one ever knew. That is news to not only Derwin, but it's news to the audience as well, because we never saw any of that, child. Derwin is angry because in his mind, now her relationship with Trey or her sex with Trey is the reason why she can't have his baby. And of course, because he's a dingbat ding dong, he takes that out on Trey. So when Trey Wiggs shows up to his house for his child's party, holding the cutest little gift bag, he sneaks him and knocks him out in the driveway. I have to be honest with you. There is nothing honorable about sneaking someone. If you were going to knock him out, you should have let him know what you were coming to do so he could brace himself and it could be a fair fight. But the fact that that man thought he was showing up to some old classmates' kid's birthday party and he's just living his best life and he's just as jovial as can be, brought a gift and everything, and you punch him out of the blue? Okay, tough guy. I know when Trey woke up, he wanted to whoop Derwin's ass. And we've already seen that he likely can.
It's over.
No, it's not, Mel! Melanie, you all right?
I'm fine.
And you, I know you ain't wash ass up in my house.
There's probably 2 large black suitcases in the bedroom.
You ain't taking the stuff, man. Yo, boy, you better get your hands off me.
Or what? You gonna stay hemmed up?
You better get your hands off me, boy.
Look, it's not personal. All right, we just want to get Melanie out of here.
Hey, man, sorry I'm late. Family's a no-show. Thought I caught a cold. Thought it'd be better if I just kept.
The first time Trey saved Melanie, he had to hem up Derwin, and he did so effortlessly. I actually credit that moment with why Melanie pulled the trigger on Trey. I feel that's what did it, and it would have done it for me too. Did Trey wake up and try to get in the house and fight Derwin? Did he wake up and call the police? What did he do? Because I'm going to be very honest with you. You let somebody invite me to a party, and I show up, I don't put on clothes. I brought a gift, meaning I bought something. I'm showing up and I'm like, hey, friend. I wake up a couple of minutes later and I'm like, what happened to me? If I have any kind of abrasion on me, I'm fighting somebody. Even if I'm the reason I fell and hit my head, somebody's to blame, and it ain't gonna be me or my clumsiness. I would have made my way inside and said, who did this? Who did this to me? And if Derwin had owned up to it, I don't know, because he's a slimy ass person. He probably wouldn't have owned it, scary ass. But if he had said yes, I would have beat the shit out of Derwin. I probably would have thumped DJ on my way out, because what you're not gonna do is knock me out of the yard and give me my gift back. And I definitely would have took my slice of cake and popped a balloon. I would have caused some real damage. And maybe I would have said, you know what, Melanie? You need to just be with me. Come on here, girl. And I would have finally took my lady. I'm fighting everybody in this party. Somebody might eventually beat me up, but I'm getting through enough of y'all. I'm running through this place like the Tomb Raider. You knock me out. Let me find out something's wrong. Definitely would have went inside and at least got a free Band-Aid. Did the party guests just leave and Trey is just out there? Like, they should have showed us what happened after that, because running outside to your car and it's just a dead man in the driveway. Like, what kind of party is this? So now we have to talk about the reason Derwin and Melanie broke up in the first place. Drew Sedora. Now, I felt bad for Drew all the way up until her album release party or her music video party, whatever that little party was. I felt bad for her ass all the way up until then, because up until that point, the only person with 360 knowledge of the entire situation, the entire love triangle between himself, Drew, and Melanie was Derwin.
I give you a round.
Thank you. At least there's one gentleman here.
Besides, I roll like this every night.
Oh, I bet you do, Mr. Touchdown. I saw you in the playoffs.
You did?
I mean, who didn't? And that move you put on the cornerback? What? It was crazy.
What the hell I tell you about pitching woo on the job, boy?
All right, Drew, peace. Hey, Mel.
Count me in doesn't sound anything like I have a fiance.
Jay, man, I don't need to get anything out my system, man. I love Melanie. That's who I'm gonna marry.
Hey, don't come over here yelling at me. Okay, this is all starting to make sense. You don't want to break up with your girl, but you're not happy with whatever's going on between you two. I don't think you need advice. I think you know exactly what you want to do. Only if you tell me you bring your girl Melanie to your other girl Drew's party, because I got to see how a church boy juggles two women. Ah, 2-piece with a biscuit. Of course, they got him stupid. Yeah.
Well, your boy's got it handled. See, I'm inviting Melanie to that party, but I know she's not gonna be able to go because she has to study. I almost had her out of here, man. You are killing me right now.
You're supposed to be a player. You're saying what you can do in the heat of battle, and frankly, I'm disappointed.
Anytime now, God. Drew, I gotta tell you something.
Yeah?
I have a fiance.
What?
And she's on her way over here. And here she is.
Hi.
Come on, Drew, don't look at me like that.
Like what? A liar? I'm so glad I didn't give you any. And tonight was gonna be the night too.
Where's your man going?
Oh, don't worry. He'll be back.
He was lying to both of them. He never told Drew he had a fiance, which told me right out the gate he always intended to overstep with Drew, and he hoped it wouldn't come out, because if he really didn't think about talking about Melanie, his ass don't need to be engaged. I have made plenty of friends, female, male, etc., since I've been married. And right out the gate, when we're establishing the basics, what do you do for work? How old are you? Do you have kids? Do you have a dog? At all times, I'm like, married. It's not my whole identity, but it's damn sure in the Rolodex of the first 5 questions. Jesus. Now, I might not lead with it because I'm not one of those people that's like, hi, I'm Mrs. Such and such. Like, it gets on my nerves. I hate when people do that. Tell the ones who are just like, oh, I'm also married, versus the ones that I'm married and it's my identity. So it does come up right out the gate. Now, they weren't married, but they were engaged at this point. And even if they weren't engaged, they lived together. Regardless, after the first conversation, if he hadn't established that he had a girlfriend by then, it should have come up at some damn point. It comes up right away naturally, because when you're married or you're engaged or you're dating and you live together, they're part of everything you do. They're just part of your world. So they come up naturally. For him to not bring up Melanie was intentional, because it would have just been a natural byproduct of normal conversation for him to bring her up at some point. We observed Derwin talking to everybody. The other women on the Sunbeams, the other players. At one point, Malik even calls him out for talking about Melanie and his relationship when they're supposed to be having guy time. So clearly Derwin is well versed in how to conduct a relationship and how to carry that relationship into your other relationships. But for some reason, with Drew Sedora, he just forgot, and he kept on forgetting, no matter how often she called him, no matter how often he called her. The first time he realized he wasn't comfortable with Melanie observing the conversation between him and Drew was the perfect time to say, whoa, there's some boundaries needed here. Because if I have any apprehension about my partner knowing what I'm saying to other people, I'm the damn problem. Let me fix it. And he was the damn problem. Now, up until that video release party, I was on Drew's side and Melanie's side. I felt so bad for both ladies. But the moment she realized that this dude deceived her, why that wasn't enough to never want to talk to him again, I don't know. But out of respect for another woman, but most of all, out of respect for yourself, that wasn't enough of a reason to not want to talk to him again? I don't know. I'm wondering if she was dealing with some self-esteem issues too, because that went on one step too long after she knew that he had a girl. And the continued flirting at the bar after he had already established he was engaged and Melanie was right across the room. Baby, you feel insecure and you feel important and chosen when this man chooses to talk to you or spend time with you over his fiance. Your issue isn't liking Derwin. Your issue isn't liking yourself enough to not want to compete with other women for something that does not belong to either of you. And what should belong to you first and foremost is your damn self-respect. The moment a person tells you they're not interested, whether through their words or their actions, move on. At no point is it ever going to be attractive to me to be talking to someone who would willingly deceive their partner, because the moment I'm in her shoes, what you finna do to me? Just common sense in and of itself would have turned me all the way off. But the fact that you thought lying to me was okay, and we over here having fun conversations, I'm thinking we're building something, even if it's not a relationship, it's a damn friendship, and you think omitting something that big for me is okay, we aren't building something that's worth having anyway. I wouldn't even want to be Derwin's friend if I was Drew Sedora. So the fact that she continued to pursue him as her little version of get back is crazy, because Melanie isn't the person who dogged you out. He was. So sleeping with him only gives him what he wants, and it only hurts her and you and your self-esteem. The fact that she was like, he'll be back. Huzzy. Not because she owes Melanie anything. And I hate when people say that. I don't owe you anything. Your partner owe you. The moment you knew the person you were into was committed to someone else or dating someone else, or someone else had a different impression, why you didn't care enough about yourself to say, I'm not trying to be in your mess, I'm worth more than this, I don't know. But also, if that person didn't do anything to you, why would you want to be part of their deception? Put that in any other context. Put that in any other situation. If someone said, hey, come with me to go steal out of this woman's house, I'm going to be like, no, I'm not going to help you steal, because that's not the type of person I am. Do I owe that woman to not steal her things? No, I don't owe her anything. But I also don't know her to cause harm or participate in the harm caused to her. So why in the hell would I be here? And what do I gain by giving you what you want that hurts her and pulls me down with you? Are you really worth my self-esteem and my self-worth? Hell no. The way he did it was just so gross. He was just, that in and of itself, the childish way he handled himself would have turned me off. Even if there was no other girlfriend, no matter what, the way he handled himself like a little boy would have just been, it just would have been too much. I don't mind the naivete and a little bit of innocence. I don't mind that at all. I actually find that to be endearing. What I don't like is childish shit.
Yeah, I just can't stand a lot of silly shit. That's just dumb.
Drew's decision-making is confusing all around. I get Derwin's because he's a deceitful person. Why she would even waste her time on a third-string quarterback who was treating her like crap? That makes no sense for me. That makes no sense to me, and it tells me everything I need to know about her self-esteem. And the fact that she saw it as a get-back opportunity to sleep with him, knowing that Melanie didn't know either. No one deceived you here but Derwin. So you sleep with him?
Did he choose you?
No, he didn't.
What's not clicking? What's not clicking?
Then the whole friendship dynamic. So the difference between the type of friend Trey was to Melanie, the type of friend Drew was to Derwin, was that Trey developed feelings that he kept at bay for the sake of his friendship with Melanie. And I've already talked about whether that was a good or a bad decision, but he still kept them at bay to show respect. Drew did the, you my friend, you my brother type of thing. So I'm going to let you think we're close, but I know as well as you know that we want a whole lot more from each other. And it's established the moment you decided to lie to your fiance about me, and you decided to lie to me about her, because if there was nothing untoward going on in that brain of yours, you would have told everybody everything, and we all would have been cool. We all would have been hanging out in my suite, talking and having fun. Why can't you tell your fiance you're in my hotel room? Why can't you tell your fiance we going to brunch? Why can't you tell your fiance you got your hand on the nape of my ass? Why you have to lie to your fiance if everything is on the up and up? Drew, we see you. There's a difference. So when Trey realized that it was a problem for Derwin, Trey was like, bring Derwin too. The whole pick my dress for me. You wanted to create an environment where you were repeatedly getting undressed. This was a seduction attempt, and his dumbass was already in on it no matter what she did because he had no business in a hotel room to begin with. If he genuinely thought that what they were doing was innocent, why did they have to do that in the hotel room? The rest of the gang is downstairs in the restaurant and by the pool. Why y'all hold away in the room? Anyway, mind you, Derwin needs an image consultant for his own outfits. So how good of a judge can he be for Drew's? Everybody playing in our face.
It's time for him to grow up. What's not clicking? What's not clicking?
There's times when we might reject the right option.
Don't put no psychology on me. You're looking for somebody strong, moral.
He makes a lot of sense.
Loves Jesus.
He goes to church.
He doesn't know how to treat women. He's like a dog.
Drew did exactly what she came there to do, which was mess with Derwin because she wanted to ruin his relationship. Because if I can't have him, neither can she. That's the type of shiesty shit she was on. I don't like people like that. And I do not like people say, I don't owe you anything your man does. I don't owe you anything your girl does. No, if you have self-respect, that wouldn't even come up for you. Because you wouldn't want to date nobody who would be deceiving you or anyone else to begin with. What a turnoff. I'm worth way more than that. The fact that Drew didn't say that right out the gate, the fact that she wasn't embarrassed that she had to go back to her publicist and say, so you know the guy that we built this whole night around coming out as the couple, he brought his fiance. Like the fact that that wasn't the grossest thing to her says a lot about Drew. And at the end of the day, while I don't agree with addressing the other woman, I just think it's silly because what are we going to win? The loser gets the man. Even if you win, the loser gets the man. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want this. I still do understand Melanie because how embarrassing. You had me in this woman's face asking for an autograph. I would have killed her. I'm sorry. Like, listen, I was just talking about Melanie and her pride because at the end of the day, if you have me in somebody's face asking for an autograph and you were messing around with them, I do feel like temporary insanity would cover me. I feel like a jury and a judge would be like, oh, hell no. You didn't finish the job, let me know. Help. I feel like I would be able to convince any jury and any judge that he deserved what he got. If I didn't finish the job, I genuinely feel like if I told them that little fact, they would help me stomp him out. I do. I feel like the judge would be like, move out the way. Let me get some in because how dare you? An autograph? Drew was no better than Derwin, other than the fact that at first she didn't know. But the moment she knew, the fact that she continued carrying on with him, how gross. Oh, you really put yourself out there looking crazy. Anyway, then we get Derwin and Janae. Now, at first, before Janae, Derwin is trying to find his footing in the dating world after Melanie leaves him for good. So he dates Jazz for a little bit, who gets kicked out of a party for acting a fool. Then he dates Eggs, who was just a jump off trying to trap him, which we talked about her in the Derwin is Evil video. And so finally, Malik introduces him to Janae. He falls flat on his face. He sounds a fool. The way he tried to come on to Janae, when she walked off, I said, oh, I love this character. I hope she stays around forever. And she did, for the most part.
Janae! Real cool chick. Got her stuff together, got her own boutique.
What's up?
Hey, lady.
Hey.
How you doing, Janae? Oh, twinkle, twinkle, little star. I see him flying every leg. Hey, table set, y'all. Name that first baby after me. Big Lee.
That is an awkward introduction.
Yeah, he saw me pretty short. He'll probably have twins or triplets. I mean, I am pretty potent.
Oh, well, okay. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab me some. No, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably not coming back.
But she was not intrigued by him at all. She clearly had standards and self-respect, and this was a first for Derwin when dating a woman. So he didn't know how to behave in her presence, and I love that she made him nervous. I loved it so much. But it also triggered his insecurities. Not her fault at all. All him. When they went on their first date, they're just getting to know each other, and they're talking about like little facts here, little facts there. And it comes up that she dated Dwayne Wade. And the reason it comes up is because Derwin mentions he's his favorite basketball player. And he says that he went to the wrong college, when in fact he went to Marquette. And she corrects him, and he was like, oh, are you a basketball fan? And she was like, oh, no, we dated in college. Just was naming off all kind of people. She said Lamar Odom. She said Dwayne Wade, Hill Harper, or should I say Hill Harper, as Derwin likes to do. I don't know why you made that man a bunny rabbit. She was like, oh, are we at that point? Now, it's clear from that statement that people have gotten to that point in their relationship where they're discussing their exes. And when they find out Janae has dated other professional athletes, they likely have a problem with it. And so she's just kind of putting that out there on their first date. And I just have to be honest, this was so unnecessary to me. Why are you sharing all this. And then I get it because Derwin's question sounded judgmental, but I would have just addressed the judgment. I would have been like, is there a problem? We all have a past. What is the issue? I thought you had a girlfriend before me as well. Her job shouldn't be a defining issue. And so I would have just addressed it straight up, but she decides to rattle off the list. I also don't get why he has a problem with it. I thought it was silly. But again, we've established that Derwin is extremely insecure. And anytime he feels like he's not a woman's end all be all, he feels like he's worthless in their life. He wants to feel like he's the alpha and omega of your life. And if he doesn't feel that way and he feels like you have other options and obligations, then he gets threatened and he overreacts and lashes out, which is exactly what he did. When this fool got in the car and basically called her a hoe, I couldn't even believe she let him drive her home. I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't have wanted to be in the car with someone who was talking to me that way. Even the things he said were rude, but it was the tone of voice he was using.
Think you like athletes?
Oh. Are we at that point?
What you mean?
Thought we'd get to know each other a bit first, but okay, we can cut to the chase. After Dwayne, it was Lamar Odom. We broke up after 1 year. The distance killed us. After him, it was Hill Harper. 8 months. Met his mom, sweet lady. What is your problem, Derwin?
Damn. It's like that? Anybody you ain't slept with?
I haven't slept with you. And I don't plan on it. Take me home.
No, seriously. Janae, I had a problem with this before. Like finding out the girl that I'm into is hanging out with all these big name stars. Okay, it bothers me. Hell, it intimidates me. Okay, I said it.
Then why don't you just say that? So sitting up here and trying to call me a hoe? Because you have insecurities?
Again, me and Derwin wouldn't have got too far because the way he was talking to her, I would have had one of the people I rattled off their names come get me. I would have been like, listen, I'm finna go back in this store. Come pick me up, please. And we know that she was friends with Rudy Gay and he was in town. So I would have called Rudy Gay to come get me. I'd call Rudy if I were Janae. Yeah, anybody but Derwin. But anyway, the way he was talking to her, that would have been a turnoff. He never would have gotten a second chance, even though he was like vulnerable and he was like, listen, I'm sorry. I found out that my ex-girl was dating other athletes and it bothered me. So I'm sorry I got triggered. And she was like, okay, you can make it up to me, blah, blah, blah. No, he can't. That's when he realized where your limit was. He realized what it would take to violate you, disrespect you, and then get you back right then. He tested you and clocked you all at the same time. He realized like, oh, okay, so that's where her line is. I figured out how far is too far. I also figured out how I would be able to get her back. So now I know the threshold for how I can misbehave in her life. Derwin Ding Dong Davis is an antagonist for the most part. He doesn't believe in cohesive relationships. He likes the drama. He likes the mess. And he's always creating some kind of triangulation between the women in his life. He needs to know the threshold in which he can do that because he doesn't plan to stop, which is very obvious. And case in point, as Janae got closer to Derwin, he triangulated her against Melanie because that's all he does. He doesn't know how to carry on a relationship because he's a child. He's ridiculous. He's ignorant. Anyway, she takes him back. They start dating. They're really into each other. He gets injured, but the team goes to Miami to play in the championship game. Derwin doesn't go because he wants to stay home and feel sorry for himself. He runs into Melanie out and about buying salsa for Jerome. They kind of do the Merwin. She goes over to his house. They make out.
Shake it off. Look, go to Miami. Support your team.
The team. Okay, since when do you care about the team? You know what, Janae? All this is about you going to Miami so you can live it up like you in some Jay-Z video.
No, can you get refill these margaritas?
Picture's empty. Can you help me out?
You know I don't make them as good as you do.
Okay. Margaritas coming in.
Where's the rest of the salsa?
Well, I guess we're all out.
This is all you bought?
Well, that's all I could carry on the bus.
I mean, all right. Yeah, that's a real good look on you.
Thanks. Can I give you a hand?
Be better if you give me a leg.
Okay, so I will talk to you later.
Yeah, you take care of yourself.
You too.
It's then that Janae calls him and apologizes for going to Miami without him because they had a little argument before she left, and she admitted that she was in love with him. And he didn't say it back. I'll never forget that because that was a moment where I would have sobered up real quick. I would have been like, oh, not me oversharing. Get the hell up out of here. Miami is not for me.
I think I might love you.
Oh, okay. Well, look, I don't want my girl out in Miami, nose all running and eyeliner.
If he was like, oh, okay, well, hey, let's get you back home. And I would have been like, ew, change your voice and also tell me you love me too. Say it. She admits that she loves him. When Janae comes back, she sneaks up on Derwin because she expects him to be on the team bus celebrating at the parade. He's getting on the bus and she catches him with Melanie. So she doesn't get on the bus with him. She waits there for the bus to come back. And when he comes back, she says, hey, so how'd you get here? Because I don't see your car. He was like, oh, a friend drove me. Again, he never changed. He's just deceitful. Clearly, he's still the same old shady, dirty dog, ding dong Davis. He doesn't change. And this was a moment where he could say, you know what, Melanie drove me. She got a new car and I was taking her some mail. She got a new car, so she drove me. It would have just been that simple. But the fact that he lied told Janae everything she needed to know. But also, Janae, however you got there, the moment he lied, you should have said, you know what, actually, I'm going to drive myself home. And I'm gonna get my things out of your apartment and I wish you all the best. And I would have just dipped. I don't need no long explanation. The moment he lied, I wouldn't have needed to know if there was more going on because I know enough to know that he felt the need to lie. If you are willing to lie, no matter the reason, I'm just not into it. Then there was the whole, she kept finding Melanie's bear in the house. He could tell that he was still into Melanie. And so finally she broke up with him. She was done. And the next time we see Janae, she's coming back to tell him that she's pregnant. But it was fully her intent to leave him. It makes me so sad that she did not get to leave him because I would have loved to have seen Janae continue to be on the show, dating other people or just living her life and continue to be a constant presence because she did have a relationship with some of the Sunbeams. We know she was friends with Malik. We know she was cool with Tasha and Kelly. I would have loved to have seen Janae, a strong, beautiful woman with her own money because her daddy was rich and she had her own store. I would have loved to have seen her walk away from a player who was playing in her face and continue to thrive. And I would have loved to have seen that contrast consistently against Melanie, who settled. I would have loved that. Instead, they made her a baby mama. She kept the baby, and we see her, Melanie, and Derwin continue to have this triangulated relationship of contention the whole show until the very end. They really destroyed her character. And last week, I talked about the problem with colorism on the show. Janae is a beautiful, dark-skinned woman. She is absolutely gorgeous. She was rich. She had her own money. She had a lot of self-respect, and she always had her hair laid. That bob was bobbing. Janae was a beautiful character. She had a full life, and she wasn't hanging on Derwin's every word. She was a force as a character, and I hate that they humbled her character and made her a baby mama. Just like I said in that video, if they're dark-skinned, they end up being a caricature, they end up being a stereotype, or they end up being some kind of untoward role in the show. They never get to be the fully empowered woman that I would love for them to be on the show, especially not as a main character. Janae was one of the cast members, but she wasn't a main character because she was just Derwin's baby mama. Even when they were dating, Melanie was still the focus in that dynamic. So it was never Janae. I would have loved for them to show Janae to be this empowered woman with her thriving business, not putting up with any BS from Derwin. In the same way we saw Chardonnay get to walk away and live her life, I would have loved to have gotten that from Janae. They really humbled that character, and it was such a shame too because she was one of my favorites. And I want to make it very clear. I'm pretty sure most of you already knew this, but I want to make sure that I clarify because I know how the internet loves to pull out a straw man fallacy. When I say baby mama, I'm not talking about being the mother of a child. I'm talking about the stereotypical caricature that shows and movies love to create when a woman has a child by a man that she's no longer with, where they stop her whole life. She has no more character development. They don't give her any more goals, any more aspirations. She doesn't move until the man says move. She doesn't have a life of her own. And she's essentially just waiting in the wings for the man to show up again. And in most cases, I didn't really pick this up on Janae, although there were a few moments in season 4 where this felt a little bit like the narrative. But for the most part, Janae wasn't a slave to the idea of a 2-parent household. I'll tolerate anything so that my kid can have both parents in the house. When in fact, staying together for the kids and creating a cycle of toxicity within their home is often far more detrimental than simply separating, creating happy, fulfilled lives separately and learning to co-parent in a healthy way, which eventually they did. But Janae didn't seem to be committed to the idea of a 2-parent household, but it is something she desired. And at times I felt she let Derwin play in her face. I was happy when she finally confronted him and said, hey, you don't get to come to my house and play father and the whole happy family thing and then go back to Melanie. I'm not going to be your dirty little secret. I was glad that she said that, but Derwin's whole behavior of carrying on 2 households was disgusting. He had all the opportunity in the world to spend time with his son and have a great relationship with Janae, but all of the intermingling with family and hiding it from Melanie as opposed to blending their family, he decided to have 2 separate entities was crazy. And although Janae did have adverse feelings regarding Melanie, and because Melanie tested their child's paternity without either of the parents knowing, I don't blame either of the parents for being upset about that. He chose to stay with her. So instead of letting them have two separate households, he should have absolutely made a very serious decision about whether or not his marriage with Melanie was viable, because she did violate his child. Now, I feel like there are several reasons why that couple should have never been together. That was number one, which is the whole him cheating on her to begin with, him carrying on two different households, him always triangulating people against her, the basic lack of respect. That was the main reason they shouldn't have been together. But the moment she decided to violate his child in any capacity, regardless of her intent, he should have divorced her and never looked back. Both of them were idiots, in my opinion. And I don't blame Janae for saying I don't want her around. However, the reality of the situation is, if your child's father is married, that is someone who will be in your child's life. That is why it's imperative that you really consider whether or not you want to have a baby with certain people, because Derwin made a decision that affected their kid, and there was really nothing Janae could do about it, because she still wanted her child to have his father in his life, and his father insisted on bringing along a woman who had violated him. I'm sad for DJ in all of this. I'm sad for Janae, but I'm very sad for DJ that he was essentially forced to be in the life of someone who resented him. And it took years for Melanie to fully accept him. That was 1 year too many for me. If someone doesn't accept my child, regardless of the reason, it's not the child's fault. However I brought this child into this world, it's not the child's fault that it came here. So if you hold resentment towards my child instead of having it towards me, if you can't separate how you treat an adult versus how you treat a child, you are not ready to be a step parent, and that is totally okay. But I would not take any chances with anyone who holds resentment around my kid, with my kid. Giving baths and changing diapers and all that, oh no. Derwin was an idiot for several reasons, and that was one of the main ones. At the same time Derwin is dating Janae, Melanie has now started dating Jerome, played by Mehcad Brooks, or in my world, Harry Flournoy, United Steel Mill Day Shift, the starting forward. Bop. Back to the cows, Jethro.
Hey, Flournoy. Gary, Indiana. United Steel Mill Day Shift. The starting forward. Back to the cows, Jethro.
Love Mehcad Brooks. He's also from Texas, and his last name is Brooks. So win, win, win. But Jerome, it's a no for me, dog. I didn't like Jerome because I feel like Jerome didn't really like Melanie. I feel like he was cool with her, but I just feel like he kind of had like a I'll date you if you're around kind of energy, because even when he was pursuing her, he was always judging her, and he took advantage of her. When he was throwing a party at his apartment for his colleagues, he put all the work on Melanie. And then on top of that, this is how I knew he didn't really like Melanie, because he asked her to run errands for his party, and he didn't even give her the keys to his car to run the errands. She had to ride the bus. I can understand being helpful, but if I'm already doing so without a vehicle of my own and you don't offer yours to make it more convenient, you're on your own, playboy. But the fact that he would even bother to ask her that says a lot. It says so much. And then the fact that she was gone for forever and a day, and he called her and was like, damn, that salsa, I just want my girl back. We good, right? I would have been like, no, I've been over here kissing Derwin. I'm going home. I would have absolutely thrown that in his face, because no, what you're not about to do is embarrass me. And then I've moved ahead too far, because that's the thing that bothers me about him the most. But let's move back to their first or second date. Their second date, he decides to take her to a Sabers game, not knowing that she used to date the receiver on the team, one of the receivers on the team. So he takes her to this date. He tells her, make me look good, baby. And he introduces her to one of his biggest clients. Then that client's wife is trying to recruit her into their little wives and girlfriends club while he is trying to schmooze this client. I had every problem in the world with this, because even if Melanie had no issues with the Sabers and she wasn't dating someone from there previously, why are you bringing me to a work thing on our second date? I don't know you. Ain't that much texting and talking on the phone in the world. We need to be together for a while before you take me to a work thing, I would think. Now, that might be just a me thing, but that is already taxing. Because when you bring a partner, everyone is looking at that person as an extension of yourself. So that's already a lot of pressure. And if we're on a date, I'm not looking to feel any kind of pressure. I'm looking to enjoy myself, maybe get a shrimp cocktail. Bonus if it's a jumbo lump crab cocktail, especially from Capitol Grill. But what I'm not about to do is be over here selling your company or your services to these people and their spouses, because you don't have me on the clock and you damn sure ain't cutting me a check. My professional services are expensive, and you're gonna have to do a whole lot more than take me to dinner to get me to sell you your services or your business to somebody else, because I better be making money from this. Where my commission at? Bitch. No, I'm not doing that. And I would also wonder about him just being a user in general, because why are you bringing me to your work dates? Like, that to me feels like you don't understand propriety. You didn't even consider my feelings before you planned this kind of date, or you're trying to kill two birds with one stone. You should have been here and been fully invested in your work stuff and dated me later. If I'm dating Jerome, our second date, I'm not gonna, why would I overinvest myself like that? That's an overextension, and I'm not doing that. You're asking a lot. I'm also concerned about Jerome's judgment in general, because again, you don't know this woman. Why would you have her anywhere near your job? And when she freaked out because she got overstimulated and overwhelmed and rushed out, that's what your ass get, because you just don't take strangers to your work stuff. Melanie, he not too bright. I don't really like him. And then for the last nail in the coffin for me and Jerome, I cannot stand him when he and Melanie finally decide to sleep together. And I'm going to be real. The date they went on when they ran into Derwin and Janae celebrating moving in together, which why are y'all buying champagne and y'all just staying together temporarily? Anyway, Janae was doing too much. That date was the best Melanie looked on the show. I still think about her hair in that scene. Melanie, aka TiaMowry, has never looked better. She looked absolutely stunning on that date. Every time I see that episode, I'm like, do you see her? The only other date that really rivals that moment was her makeup and hair from the date with Derwin when he was trying to get her back and he had Music Soul Child hiding in the kitchen. But then Melanie saw Drew's text and left. Those two date night looks, whew, my God, Tia was killing them. I can see why she had Derwin going crazy. Prior to getting to this date, they decide that they're going to sleep together after the date. The way he acted with that was so childish. He was like, let's go right now. Shut up. Back home and clearly running into Derwin and Janae and having that information disclosed to her that they were moving in together. It rocked her. She was no longer all in with Jerome. It seemed like she was just trying to process all of it. I mean, running into your ex, especially when they're fresh and y'all were together so long, y'all plan to get married, that's gonna rock anybody. I gave her slack for that because she's human and that would make anybody uncomfortable. Even if you're fully over them, that's something to process. Like, oh, that was weird. I just don't expect to see these people from my old life and my new life. That's just a lot. Then they gave all that information. I can understand why she was stunned. Then they're about to take this pivotal step in their relationship and get physical for the first time. And Melanie is just not feeling it. This is just not something she's ready to do right now. What bothers me is this show really does play on a pendulum regarding consent, because when she shows she's uncomfortable, Jerome, why are you even still attracted in this moment? Not attracted, but why are you still gung-ho in this moment?
Hi. 2 for dinner?
No, we're actually just leaving.
You gotta feed me first. Bought some champagne to thank Derwin for letting me stay with him while my condo's being redone.
So you're moving in together?
Well, I guess, yeah.
Temporarily.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Temporarily. Are you hungry?
Uh-huh. For you?
Ooh, this has definitely gone bad.
Is this about Derwin?
What?
Oh, Mel, you're obviously bothered that he's moving in with his
Oh,
girlfriend.
that's not his girlfriend. Okay, in case you weren't paying attention, she's not moving in. She's just staying there. It's temporary.
All right, I'm gonna put my shirt back on. Okay, sure, it goes back on.
Wait, no, Jerome, I do want to do this. Not that, but I do want to do this. I guess, I don't know. Maybe I'm more comfortable being in an exclusive relationship. You know, especially if the relationship is getting intimate.
Oh, so you do want to get serious?
Well, I think so. I mean, I guess so. Maybe.
That's a real solid answer.
I just personally feel like when somebody shows that they're not invested or they're not game and they're not at 100% enthusiastic, yes, that in and of itself makes me not want to move forward. I wouldn't feel like going forward anyway. If I felt like in any way I had to ask you, or even especially not ask you twice, how are you still... So the amount of pressure he puts on her and the way he's descending upon her in this kitchen and she's toggling on this pendulum of yes, no, the moment it's a question, it's a no. I don't understand how he was feeling like moving forward, one, and two, I don't understand why he was so damn impatient. You are a grown ass man. I also felt like he didn't really like her. There were several moments that he showed that he wasn't really into her. They were in a hotel room in LA and they're trying to get busy and there's flowers all over the place, and he picks up some of the rose petals and just throws them in her face, like very close distance. And I was like, that is so immature. I would have been so turned off. I would have been like, I'm going home. Like, I would have spit the roses out and took my ass right on back up the highway. Because no, this man threw flowers in her face. Ew. And then another time when she was giving him a massage, they decided to move forward with sex. So he turns over and they're getting going. And she's like, I guess giggling or something. He goes, okay, calm down.
Calm down.
I would have been like, I'm going home. I'm gonna calm down. All right, I'm going home. Where my bus pass? When they were trying to decide if they wanted to get physical or not, and she needed some time to think, he slept with someone else. He wasn't even patient enough to figure out what was going on with them. Like, he was so immature. He was not the prize. I hated that she picked him up from a diner. He was just a diner roach. I hated him so much. So anyway, that's why I hate Jerome. And then lastly, we had Dr. McHottie, and I will just keep it simple. Ew. Ill. No offense to the actor, but just ill, Dr. McHottie. He was not the prize at all. I hated how he corrected her in front of everybody, but also when you are dating your professor, he's got to do his job. So just don't date your professor, or don't date your teacher, or don't date whatever he was to her. You shouldn't be crossing those boundaries anyway. Melanie had fallen so far below who she had established herself to be when she came on the show. But the fact that she was dating someone from work was not only like, to me, no offense, no judgment to anybody else. I just, no. Once we check in and we have the same kind of badge, I'm not into you. So just no. But the fact that they were sleeping together and he was not so kind to her in the way that he corrected her, I just didn't like that. But I understand what they're doing is serious business. He doesn't have time to worry about his delivery when he's trying to make sure that she doesn't kill people. So again, I'm gonna take some slack off of him there, but I feel like the way she conducted herself in that was so immature, and how that wasn't a turn off for him is crazy. But also, that should have been a moment where Melanie's checked in and was like, I shouldn't be dating somebody who's my teacher. Like, no. And then lastly, again, this show treated consent like an ambiguous factor, and I don't like that. She goes to the bathroom, he pushes her in the bathroom, and she says no several times. What bothers me is that while they play it for laughs and it's this casual, flirty, back and forth, lightweight type of thing, she says no several times. That should have been the end of it. I don't like the way this show sometimes plays with consent as an ambiguous factor. Also, they are in a power dynamic at work. He is her professional superior, who has now pressured her into sex in a bathroom at a restaurant at his birthday party. And she says no, and he continues anyway. There are several factors here that are extremely concerning. And I don't like the way the show is just kind of like, oh, that's just part of their love story. Like, no, there's a word for that. Whether she handled it that way, whether she felt that way, whether that was her takeaway, she said no, and he kept going. Ew. I hate that. I hate that they've done that like several times on this show. It's just weird. Between this situation and then how Melanie treated Malik, and then Malik and Parker, they have a consent issue on the show, or at least their storytelling has a real issue with consent, and I'm not a big fan of it. Now, the show's been off the air for a while, so they can't change it now, but watching it back, it just made me cringe. Hell, it made me cringe then, because I'm like, first of all, you're picking her up and she's saying no. It's just gross. My gosh, it's so gross. And then later, Derwin does the same thing, except Derwin does respect her no after he keeps begging and begging and begging. Yeah, he put a lot of pressure on her as well. Like, at the end of the day, y'all, my God, she's only one woman. You just running her ragged and turning her every way but loose. But at the end of the day, the McHottie thing is disgusting because she said no. That should have been the end of it. Also, I just don't like that man's voice. And no offense to the actor, but I don't know if he was just doing that voice for the character. I hope so, because that voice is annoying. That really wormy. Oh no, Rico Suave. It's just not what I'm into. It really puts me off. Every time he speaks, I'm just like. Everybody Melanie messes around with is indicative of how she feels about herself, because none of them treat her with respect. None of them honor her. And although they try to play it as if Derwin honors her, he doesn't. I personally feel like if we didn't have that crash and burn scene after Melanie left Derwin with Trey Wiggs, if they had never slept together and they had never crossed that boundary, I do feel like he would have been an excellent choice for her. I feel like everybody she dated showed that she had extremely low self-esteem. For Derwin, he had good women in his life with the exception of Drew. He had good women in his life in Melanie and Jana. And I hate that he used his time with them to manipulate and mistreat them and triangulate them against each other. He essentially ruined two women's lives because he didn't love himself enough. And that really drives me insane because Jana was such an excellent character who we could have gotten some great storylines out of, and she would have been excellent representation for diversity, but also just as a really great character. And Melanie, the same. She's in med school. She's headed to be a doctor, but she's also in the football world. We could have gotten more great storylines out of her, and we could have gotten a more well-rounded relationship out of her, at least before they ended up making her go back to Derwin, because it's clear from the beginning that they are in game. They have to complete the circle. I get it. So I always expected them to get back together. It's the completion of the story. But in the real world, if you're the Melanie and you have a Derwin, leave, and heal before you go on to anybody else, please. So those are my thoughts. I'm interested in what you have to say. Which was your favorite partner for Derwin or Melanie outside of each other? Who would you have loved to see them pair up with? Or are there any other pairings that we haven't explored? Next week is the last of the Problem with the Pit series. It's part 3 where we explore the impact of Jason and Kelly's divorce on Brittany, but also the impact of Jason's scarcity mindset and his anti-blackness, his inherent anti-blackness on his black daughter, and how that impacted the Brit Brat moniker and behavior that we saw from her in the BET years. So that's the last of the Problem with the Pits next week. In the meantime, if you haven't already, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to share so that more people can find us. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.